for joining me today on Commit to be Fit. I'm Susie Smith. We think of our bodies as fairly permanent structures, but in reality, our bodies are in a state of constant flux. 50 to 70 million cells are discarded and replaced daily in our bodies. And by the time we reach 50 years old, a myriad of changes have happened to our bodies, and some are age-related and some are injury-related. So today's topic is aging with exercise, or also known as use it or lose it. Be strong and get healthy. Stretch. Feel great about yourself and have some fun. It's time for you. Fitness is the key to your future. Don't get locked out. Take the challenge. Commit to be fit. Age-related sarcopenia begins in our early 30s, and we start to lose muscle mass. We gain most of our bone density by the time we're 25 to 30 years old. But if you fast forward another 10 years, by the time you're 40, bone density starts to dwindle. So we really need to work out, but sometimes it's hard to know how to work out because we see so many different things going on in the gym and on TV, infomercials. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. As we age, we need to make some changes in our exercises and the way we do them, and we might want to drop certain exercises too. And also, by the time you reach age 50, you've accumulated quite a few of age-related changes, and also some injuries have stacked up. So the truth is, some common exercises that you see all the time are really unsafe. And we want to talk about those today, and I'll show you how to modify those. And I know this time of year is really exciting. It's springtime, and we want to start exercising and getting out there after being in hibernation all winter. But there's a few things that you need to consider. It's kind of confusing because you're being bombarded by the fitness industry right now with lots of gadgets and promises and DVDs that are going to make you super fit in 4 weeks. Well, that's just not true. And if you think about businesses, they're in business to make money, and that's a lot of the fitness industry. Now, there are good places to work out, there are good trainers, but there's also a lot of BS going on out there just to get your money. So I want to show you a few things today and break down fitness to where you can understand it and you're not overwhelmed. Because when you get overwhelmed just thinking about fitness and what you're going to do, well, it kind of makes you not even want to get started because you feel, that you can't do all this, and you don't need to do all that anyway. But what is fitness? Fitness is, a general description of fitness is just being able to get through your day and do everything that you have to do. Take care of your kids, maybe get your workout in, do your 8-hour, a day job, take care of your family, you cook and all of that, you grocery shop, you're carrying groceries. And those things take up a lot of energy, and if you're in good shape, you're going to enjoy your day a lot better and not be so exhausted and still have time to do fun things. So working out in your 50s and above the same way that you worked out in your 20s is really going to set you up for a world of hurt. And so we need to make changes in the workout because our bodies have changed in flexibility. We might have changes in recovery time, muscular strength, all of these things. And we may be working around different injuries. So we need to adjust accordingly. And fitness is for life. And what irritates me about the fitness industry is they promise things that aren't true. They promise that it's going to come fast. You're going to be in shape really fast if you do this certain thing, and you're not. But give yourself a couple months, of working out, and you will notice some changes, but it's not going to come overnight, but it's really going to be worth it. And before you get started out there this spring with your workouts, I want you to fix your posture. So maybe take a Pilates class, anywhere, maybe a yoga class, probably more Pilates if you're serious about posture, but at least try to be aware of your posture, because that way you're going to be able to successfully get through range of motion in the way that it's supposed to be. So I think we'll get started with posture before I show you some of these exercises that we need to take a closer look at. All right, before we get started with any exercise, we want to make sure that we have proper posture. So I want you to stand evenly on both feet with even pressure on the front of your foot and on the back of your foot and on both sides of your feet. So try to find that middle, rock back and forth, side to side until you find that middle, and start to lift up through the body. And we want to think of some symmetry on both sides. So lift up, feel that your hips are both even and you're not kind of standing off to the side. Suck the stomach in. Now you're going to start to pull your shoulders back and slide them down your back, and I want your arms to hang loosely. Now take a look at your hands. When your shoulders are back, your hands are hanging down, are your thumbs pointing forward? Mine are pointing forward, but if you are having any internal or external problems with your shoulders, your thumbs might be pointing toward your body a little, or your palms might be facing out a little. So these are things that you'll need to address. So thumbs should be hanging, arms hanging down, thumbs should be facing forward. Bring the shoulders up and slide them down your back, and just reach up through the crown of your head as if you're pulling a string from the top of your head all the way up, and you're going to make space between the vertebrae. So this is standing posture, and we'll transfer this into the chair as I show you some exercises that you really shouldn't be doing. There are exceptions. There was a man and a woman that just finished a marathon. He was 100, she was 102. You're going to see that every so often, but what we're talking about today is in general. So I'm going to show you one of the main exercises, one of my least favorite exercises that I see in the gym, and it's called a lat pull down, actually. And I want to show you the wrong way to do this. But first, get into your position. You want to have good posture in a seated position by putting your knees directly over your ankles, and you're going to sit up nice and tall. You'll see this machine in the gym, and it'll have a bar that hangs from a cable, and you're seated in a little chair there that you'll be seated in. And what I see with a lot of people is they get this bar and they pull it behind their head, and then they come back up. You're going to see this a lot. They can't get it behind their head, so they have to really take their head forward, bend their neck, and pull it down. You're going to see this with bodybuilders all the time, and different people in the gym. Don't do this exercise. This is one exercise that I can 100% absolutely tell you is not good. And what you want to do, you can use that machine. You'll grab the bar, and sometimes the bar won't be straight. You might see a V-shaped bar, but it's still the same exercise. You'll get in your good posture, seated posture. You'll lean back with your back straight. I want you to inhale, and then as you exhale, you'll come down just below the chin, and you're squeezing your shoulder blades, and the muscle that you're working are the lat muscles on the sides. So this is the correct way. You get into the machine, sit tall, lean back, inhale first, and then exhale as you bring it down. Inhale as you take it back up. This is a very common exercise. This is the proper way to do it right here. You're also going to see people doing this. And you're going to see people bringing it down, and you're going to see them pushing it down to their legs, and they're bringing it back up, and they're doing all these crazy things. And I don't want to tell you this without explaining why. Now, when I take this behind my back, what I'm doing My shoulder, this humerus bone, the upper arm bone, sits inside of a socket. And there's really a lot of instability in shoulders. We have a lot of mobility, but that kind of takes away from the stability. It's kind of a shallow socket that the arm bone sits in. And when you get into a position like this, and you bring it behind your head, you've externally rotated your humerus. It's turned out, it's starting to come out of the socket, and you're stretching all of those tendons and ligaments, and that's where you get the rotator cuff tear. It's right here. And I'm not going to lie to you, I've done all these exercises for years because I've been working out for a long time, a really long time. And if you can imagine, VCRs were just coming out when I started working out, and the two popular movies that year, E.T. the Extraterrestrial and the original Conan the Barbarian, came out the year that I started working out. So I've done all these things, and I know that this is going to impinge because when you take your arms back behind you, the same as an overhead press, I really don't want you doing these either, behind the neck presses, because it's throwing this bone of your upper arm out, and it's starting to wear across the tendon. And the more you do these exercises behind the head and up here, and you're messing up your neck at the same time. So you definitely want to stay away from that. And the same with barbell squats. When you're doing squats, you don't want to go into a Smith machine and stand. I'm going to stand up here and show you barbell squats. Now I've got this barbell here, and it's got lots of weight, and I have to roll it down my back, and by rolling it down my back, I have to impinge my shoulder. So these are just some things. You're going to see a lot of people doing this, and they're squatting like this, and look where the bar is on the back of my neck. It's pushing my cervical spine out. So the alternative to that is to hold dumbbells. So you'll have a dumbbell in each hand, and you can do your squats. But I want you to get away from all of that behind your neck, because as we age, it's going to add up. And you can get away with just about anything in your 20s, 30s, 40s. You're Batman. But not when you turn 50, 60, 70. You're going to want to make some adjustments. But you really need to keep working out. The next one I want to show you is called a leg extension. And you'll see this in the gym a lot. Now the move isn't so bad. The move isn't so bad, extending the legs out. We've done this in my show before. You can extend legs out. But once you get into this machine at the gym and you put your ankles under, they're actually under like a bar, and you're extending out, and you've got a lot of weight on here. You've put your pins in the stack, and you've got this weight. What you're doing is hurting your ankles. You're really getting a lot of pressure on those ankles. Maybe you're lifting 50, 60 pounds to work your quads. Well, your kneecaps are taking a whole lot of stress. And like I said, you won't notice that in the early days, but you'll notice over the years just how much that hurts. So an alternative for that movement is always a squat like we just did, or a lunge. And I'll show you a couple moves that you can do in place of that. Just get your barbell, get your dumbbells, and you'll squat. And when you squat, you want to keep your knees behind your toes, and you want to come back up. So knees are behind the toes, and you're holding on dumbbells. And another way is just to step out to the side and squat, and bring it back up, and step out to the side and squat. And these are just basic exercises that you're going to see, and I just want to show you ways to improve on the move and not hurt yourself. Because the whole point of working out is to stay in the game longer. And that's what we want to do. We want to stay strong for as long as we can. Let's see what else I brought with me. Long distance running. Now, like I said, there are people that run, and they are running and running and it doesn't seem to bother them, or maybe they have some knee operations. But I would advise against really long distance running after the age of 50. You might want to consider backing it off a little bit, just a few miles, or just walking. Walking's an excellent exercise. And heavy weights. People think I lift heavy weights, which I guess I do in comparison to some people, but heavy weights are weights that you only get maybe 4 or 5 reps out of. And we need to get 10 reps, and the last 2 reps should be hard. So if you're doing, say, bicep curls, and you're doing 50 reps, that's really way too much. You're just overusing your joints. So what you need to back down and just use a weight that you can get 10 reps out of. Now, somebody's weight may be heavier than yours, but that's okay. Another thing I wanted to mention that you need to do as you age, you need to keep up with some jumping exercises. And that sounds kind of intimidating, but I'm talking about little jumps, like maybe holding on to the railing at the bottom of your steps and just hold on and jump up on the first step and then step back down easily. I notice there's a big trend right now. When you go to the gym, they're going to have 1 foot, sometimes 2 foot boxes that you're going to jump up on. And if you don't have base muscle strength, like the basic muscle development, you're going to hurt your joints and your muscles. So start with just a 6-inch box and keep that in your workout though, because we start to lose those fast twitch muscles as we age, and we need to keep some of that so that we have the ability to jump out of the way. So you can do side jumps, like jumping side to side or jumping up on your step. My last exercise that I want to show you, I'm going to come down on the floor and show you one of the worst exercises that you can do. And then we're going to go through a series of good exercises.
Hey, look at me. I'm a classic. You can wear me anywhere, but first you have to win me at the Designer Bag Bingo.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
The number one exercise that I really would like you to drop out of your exercise toolbox is called a crunch. And I know a lot of you are going to be mad at me for saying that, but it just racks up the injuries. And I'm going to show you what it looks like and why it does that. and what we're going to do instead, because there's a lot of exercises out there that we really need to get rid of. So let's start with the crunch. I'm going to come down to the floor, and a safe way to come down, you can hold your leg or just take one leg, roll yourself back. Now, if you have osteoporosis, you really shouldn't be on your back doing any kind of moves like this, because you're just kind of wearing away the bone. You can actually powder the bone, just deteriorate it by going back and forth with these crunches, which is one of the things that I wanted to bring out. Now you're going to people put their hands behind their head. Then they lace them. This is the bad way. And they crunch up, and you think you're working your abs. It's really not that great of an exercise anyway. And you come back down. But if you don't have perfect form, which very few people, if anybody, has perfect form, you're going to really hurt yourself, because you're cranking on your head. Your abs are weak if you haven't been working out for a while. So you're coming up and you're pulling on your head because your abs aren't strong enough to bring you up. So there you've got the neck problem going, and these really don't do anything for you. So we're going to flip over. And remember, if you have osteo or some problems with your back, you don't want to be pushing your back into the floor. And this happens over time, and not to worry, we have plenty of other exercises to do. Now this is a plank, and the way you're going to get into it is get your elbows lined up underneath your shoulders, and just lift your feet. And I want to be in a straight line. I don't want to be up here, and I don't want to be sagging. And I think a lot of people have trouble with the sagging in the beginning because they're not strong enough. So you want to hold this. And while you're doing this, I want you to think about spreading your shoulder blades apart and not letting them sag down like this. Push through the elbows, and you're going to pull the stomach in. And at the same time, I want you to engage all the muscles in your body by pushing through the heels of your feet, stretching the calves, and holding your stomach in, not sagging. And breathe. Now you can hold this for however long. I would start with probably 20 seconds and try to build up to a minute. And after you're done with your plank, drop your knees, and you're going to make space between your knees to fit your body in, and just kind of stretch out here for a minute, either with your hands behind or your hands in front. And then we'll come up to a full plank. Now you can do 3 sets on any plank. Maybe try to hold 3 sets of 20 seconds to start. Now I'm going to come up into this plank. Now my body should be in a straight line, not up here. And I'm going to tuck my toes under so I can get a little action in my calves. And I'm trying to engage all the muscles in my body right now. And if you do that, if you flex your arms, your stomach, pull it in as if you're pulling your navel to your spine, you're going to get a really good core workout. And so you can do 3 sets of these. And when you're done with them, remember, drop your knees. Take your knees apart enough so that you can fit your body there. And you want to stretch out your low back. So come down to wherever you're comfortable. And just take a minute. And then we come back up. So let's try that one more time. You're going to go into forearm. And you're straight. Activating every muscle in your body. And these are the 2 that I want you to start out with. It's going to strengthen your shoulders, strengthen your arms. When you get a little better at this, you're going to go off to the side for planks. Now these are more advanced. You want to turn your pelvis toward the front wall. Lift up that hip. Reach your arm up and look at it. I would start with one foot in front of the other on the floor. when you get more balance, you can put a foot on top of another. That really takes a lot of balance. And then come down. If you need to take a break, bring your knees out. Drop your body. Rest your head. And come back up. I'm going to face the other way for this one. And come up. Whoop. Foot in front. To get set. And hold that. And bring it back down. And don't forget to stretch. Okay. You're going to hold those a lot longer than I just did. But I want you to really think about making changes in your workout. Think about the shoulders that we talked about today, because if you want to feel younger, you need to build muscle. And that's all there is to it. You're going to feel a lot younger if you build muscle, because you'll be holding all of your bones where they should be, keeping everything in place, everything in alignment. And if you don't work your shoulders, there's a small space between the acromion, which is the top bone, and those tendons, and the head of this humerus, and it sits in there. And if you don't work the muscles on the front of your body and on the back, your space is smaller between that top bone and the humerus. So if you work the chest and shoulders and the back, you're going to build a nice shoulder socket, shoulder area, shoulder joint, and you're going to be a lot safer in all of your exercises. And you're going to make a little more space between that bone and the tendon, because when you build muscle, it pulls it down a little bit. So these are the things I wanted to share with you today about aging and just making some changes. But just keep working out, and the main thing to think about is preparing for your future self. And I don't know where I'd be today if I didn't prepare for my future self. When I started working out at 29 years old, and now I'm 65. But I feel great, and I want you to feel great, and don't fall for all those gimmicks that are coming out now in the spring. And just be good to yourself, take care of your future self, and take the challenge, and commit to be fit.
Hey, look at me, look at me. I'm the color of the season. You and me together, we would be awesome. We would kill it at the club. You can get me at the Designer Bag Bingo.
My honor, I would do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, morally straight.